a Muslim ban / non-Muslim ban, because the people who designed it, Steve Bannon and Steve Miller, they actually have they're actually intelligent and they know stuff.
Andrew, welcome back.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's #1 fan, or not?
No, but he's occupying most of my thoughts.
What's the latest on Trump, and what's changed in your opinion of him?
I think, what was it I said before? I think he's an intuitive genius, but only in a few areas.
You said he was the best president you've ever heard of, and that he's not racist at all.
That is not
That's what you
said.
Well, it was something like that.
It wasn't the first half of that sentence. Stop fake newsing it.
Hey, hold on a minute. Uncle Jamal is back. I was just told that he was taken away, but he's back. All right, so sorry for the fake news. What did you really say?
It was.
That he's a genius, but that doesn't make him a great person.
No, I said intuitive genius, but only in a few areas, and in most other areas he's an incompetent, idiotic, ignorant moron. But if the Liberals can't understand how he's both, they'll never stop him.
Okay.
And the thing I was saying was, I don't think, and this might be a bit controversial, I don't think that he's actually that racist, and he's even less white nationalist, and also not very Islamophobic.
Not very Islamophobic, but he imposed a ban on Muslims.
Kind of. I mean, he did call for a total complete shutdown of Muslims entering the country.
Yeah, until we work out what the hell is going on.
And he also ultimately did implement a ban of some sort, although I would say that's actually kind of more better described as a Muslim ban / non-Muslim ban, because the people who designed it, Steve Bannon and Steve Miller, they actually they're actually intelligent and they know stuff. I mean, they seem to be terrible people who believe in terrible things. But
I thought that ban was implemented during the Obama era anyway, and Trump just carried it on.
The Obama era,
it was drawn up under Obama.
They implemented these countries, which many of them are majority Muslim, are subject to additional checks and vetting. Yeah. And then Steve Bannon and Miller came along and they said, right, we'll change that. Same countries, but now complete ban, almost complete ban. So that was what was changed. The idea, I think, was that for Steve Bannon and Steve Miller, they wanted it so that you could interpret it either way, as a Muslim ban or not.
Presumably Christians from those countries wouldn't be welcome either.
Jews I don't
non-believers.
I don't recall them giving a special exemption if they did. So I don't. Anyway,
it's not really most Muslim ban as such. And there were many Muslim countries that you could travel from America.
It's because Steve Bannon and Steve Miller just wanted. They felt this was as good as a ban as they could
I think
get.
if Trump hadn't said, I'm calling for a complete shut, it wasn't that there was a Muslim ban, it was that Trump sounded like he was calling for one.
Kind of, but the thing is, I think
and he made another
Trump
statement.
just said that he just stated it because it was the right level of controversial, not because he actually bothered to work out if he actually did support a Muslim ban.
Have you seen
or didn't support
Trump
a Muslim ban.
Talking about executing people with bullets dipped in pig's blood?
Yeah.
Have you seen that clip?
Yeah, I think I've seen a bit of it. I think he just heard about what general was that? That was in the Philippines, wasn't it?
Okay.
It was supposed to be.
And he said after that they didn't have a single problem. He was sort of saying that if you lay the law down nice and harshly, people will start obeying you.
I think that Donald just heard the story and thought it'd be a nice idea to push it. If he was the one that pushed it, it would work. Okay. But if anyone else tried pushing it, it wouldn't have worked because people would have simply common sensed it sounded silly or bad. And it only worked because Donald heard it somewhere and thought it'd be a good idea to push that story.
What do you make of his recognition of the Golan Heights as being part of Israel?
I figure he just felt that was a good idea to do it. And didn't really bother to check if that statement was how true it was, how false it was, how consistent it was, or almost any of the other consequences of this action. He just felt with his instincts it was a good idea and did it. Well, either he felt it was a good idea to that it would get him a win, or he felt it was a good idea because it would get him attention, make him look good, or he just felt it was a good idea and didn't even bother to work out either rationally or intuitively if it was a good idea.
He's quite impulsive.
Yes, because he's more than almost any other human. He seems to be dependent on his intuition and instincts and best judgment and common sense. Just feel his way to a conclusion, rather than just actually doing lots of reading and research and slow, deep, rational thought to understand the consequences.
What do you think about the Golan Heights being occupied?
It's going to take ages, isn't it? Because I haven't done enough research. I mean, I understand that Israel exists, but the trouble is there are bits that Israel occupies, which the UN doesn't exactly recognise as part of Israel. So, and Golan Heights is probably one of those areas, I think. I can't remember. So, in that state, it's like, I don't know. I haven't really formed an opinion on that, but certainly it's not exactly great that Donald seems to have just announced it and
not
done
exactly
it.
Great, yeah. It's a good way.
He's just announced it and done it, and he's not giving me the impression that he actually tried weighing this up with anything, with any amount of intellectual rigour or anything.
Is there a president from the past who you think did weigh things up, think it through, and wasn't so impulsive?
Varies. I mean, this might sound a bit racist, but they all are clearly human.
Okay.
So they would have almost all of them over-relied on their common sense and best judgment. Obama tended to, I don't know. I got
Why is
the
it
impression
racist to say that they're all human?
Because they're implying that their failures are because they're human.
Oh, okay. Against the human race.
Yeah.
Well,
that sort of racism.
That's the kind of racism we don't mind.
Treating you all equally, as in equally badly.
Yeah.
Because humans do seem to rely on their common sense too much to just feel what's a great idea and get to their conclusion and opinions, and then they rationalise to try and figure out, rather than rational thought, critical think, to figure out if that's actually a good idea or not.
How long have you been interested in human behaviour?
I think it's mostly since someone told me to use my common sense and I didn't understand what that meant.
And who was that?
That was, I can't remember who it was, but it was like 20 or more years ago.
Probably
so
why you can't remember.
It was because I think I was asking how to change a light bulb, and they said use my common sense, and I was like, okay, that doesn't actually tell me how to actually do the task.
No, it doesn't. Use your common sense. Not very common these days.
Well, the problem is that actually I think it's the opposite problem. It's completely common.
Common sense is common.
As in, it's what the humans actually rely on almost all the time to get to their conclusion.
Rather than
actually reading research and slow, deep, rational, critical thought.
Are there any books you'd recommend on this topic?
Everything is obvious once you know the answer, I think.
By whom?
Oh, I can't remember the guy's name.
Everything is obvious once you know the answer. Well, it'll be obvious once you Google it.
And then there's also things like The Invisible Gorilla.
Invisible Gorilla?
Yeah, The Invisible
Haven't seen
Gorilla.
that one. Joke there.
But the thing is, the gorilla in question is actually fully visible. It's just that people don't see it.
Right.
Apparently, something like they're in the video that they used to test the humans.
Yeah.
They say count the number of passes between basketball players on the court, and then during it, a person in a gorilla suit walks in and does something. And they realised when questioning that a lot of people failed to notice the gorilla was there.
Right.
So the gorilla was effectively invisible.
Yes. Not like the elephant in the room, which is a different matter.
Kind of, although do people actually notice the
elephant in the room is something everyone has noticed but are too afraid to talk about or don't mention because no one else is mentioning it.
Okay. Because, let's see, what else should I talk about Donald Trump? There's the relationship between him and Russia. There's the fact that he just does not. Yeah, he just says he either keeps saying everything seems to be geared towards what will get him attention, make him look good. Either he says something nice that will get him attention and make him look good, or he says something controversial that is the right level of controversial for the positive personal reputation or the cult of personality that he has set up.
So really, he's selfish, and he's just out for the most attention or the most benefit for himself.
That's effectively what it. Well, effectively that's what it boils down to. The trouble is, he spent 50 years getting good at it, so he's effectively an intuitive genius at it.
He's the best.
Which is not great, because it literally results in things like Charlottesville.
Do you think that's as a result of
not that. The two statements that he made regarding Charlottesville, because they're basically, they were both controversial, but they're not compatible, because you can't, because he said the on both sides narratives, good and bad people on both sides, violence on both sides, very fine people on both sides, and then he also said the other one, which was, I have condemned the KKK and the Nazis or neo-Nazis and the white supremacists, but the crooked news media won't tell you. They say, oh, we waited too long, he's a racist. Yeah. And those are not compatible, because the white nationalists, for example, like the first one, but they're not going to like the second one. And as far as I can tell, a lot of people, like in the mainstream media and the liberals, they all thought that one of them, well actually everybody seems to have thought that one of those statements had to be the true one. Because apparently they thought that Donald Trump would only say a controversial statement like that if he truly meant it. But the trouble is, he said two controversial statements, and he seems to have truly meant them both at the times he said it. So only, when it came to me, neither of them are the true one, because he never bothered to work out which one was the true one. He just said the first one because it was the right level of controversial for him, and then he said the second one because it was the right level of controversial for him. So basically he misled all the liberals and the white nationalists and Don Lemon into believing he was a white nationalist or white nationalist supporter with the on both sides. You don't think he really is? Not really, not very. And then he misled the majority of his supporters that aren't white nationalists, that he wasn't a white nationalist. But in truth, he never bothered to work out if he truly was or truly wasn't a white nationalist. It was kind of irrelevant to him just feeling with his instincts and his intuitive genius that was a great thing to say. Yeah. And if you can't trust Donald on his Charlottesville comments, then can you trust him on anything else controversial he ever said? Like birtherism. Did he actually truly believe in birtherism? Did he not truly believe in birtherism? Or did he just push it because at the time it was the right level of controversial and he didn't care about the other consequences to the country and race relations? And then when he felt with his instincts that it was no longer a good idea for him to push it, he stopped pushing it.
Birtherism meaning the birth certificate of Barack Obama?
Yeah, when Trump said, I'll release my tax returns when Obama releases his birth certificate. And that time he said, I have sent private, he had said something like he had sent private investigators to Hawaii and they cannot believe what they are finding. Okay. Which technically not a lie, but only because I define a lie as knowingly telling a falsehood, and I don't think Donald bothered to work out what was true and what wasn't before he confidently stated that, because he didn't feel it was necessary, because he felt that if he said it, he had the positive personal reputation to say it, and everyone would listen, the media would all report it, and enough listeners would simply, being human, they would simply common sense feel that was a great statement, primarily because it was Donald Trump who said it.
Well, there you have it. Join me again for another Donald update.
Okay.